American success stories. A builder who left his mark on skylines around the world. A businessman with an extraordinary ability to communicate directly with the American people. A leader who grew tired of politicians, leading our country to
is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another four-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation, and this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The Clinton machine is at the center of this power structure. We've seen this firsthand in the WikiLeaks documents, in which Hillary Clinton meets in secret with international banks to plot the destruction of U.S. sovereignty in order to enrich these global financial powers, her special interest friends, and her donors. Honestly, she should be locked up. The most powerful weapon deployed by the Clintons is the corporate media, the press. Let's be clear on one thing. The corporate media in our country is no longer involved in journalism. They're a political special interest, no different than any lobbyist or other financial entity with a total political agenda, and the agenda is not for you, it's for themselves. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe. They will lie, and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever is necessary. The Clintons are criminals, remember that. This is well documented, and the establishment that protects them has engaged in a massive cover-up of widespread criminal activity at the State Department and the Clinton Foundation in order to keep the Clintons in power. They knew they would throw every lie they could at me and my family and my loved ones. They knew they would stop at nothing to try to stop me. Nevertheless, I take all of these slings and arrows gladly for you. I take them for our movement so that we can have our country back. I knew this day would arrive. It's only a question of when. And I knew the American people would rise above it and vote for the future they deserve. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. Our great civilization has come upon a moment of reckoning. I didn't need to do this, folks, believe me. I built a great company, and I had a wonderful life. I could have enjoyed the fruits and benefits of years of successful business deals and businesses for myself and my family, instead of going through this absolute horror show of lies, deceptions, malicious attacks. Who would have thought? I'm doing it because this country has given me so much, and I feel so strongly that it's my turn to give back to the country that I love. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
Amen. Is everything okay? Sound good? Had some issues today. Hopefully everything is good. Welcome. Thank you for joining tonight. Just thought I'd do a little news that we may have missed, and I hope everybody is having a good Monday. Welcome to Fighting for the Republic, and this is just some news and review. No guest tonight. So, all right, that's great to know. You know, that man is fighting for every single thing. You know, we need a new hat. Make America even greater. That should be a new slogan. Let's see if we can get that out there. It's not make America great again. He made it great, so let's make it greater. And whatever he says is the facts, and it's the truth. A little bit of Trump in a matter of minutes, or however it takes me to get there. So here is a little something that I found, and let's see what we got. Make sure I get the right one. That is not the right one. So what I want to do is switch. Which is not there. Let me see if it's there. Sometimes. There we go. I got the right one. How about that? Hey, I'm getting better at this. We all know what kind of a piece of crap Peter Strzok is, and he was part of the coup that has been taking place over the few years. And hit it, and he kind of corresponded with Lisa Strzok in the whole damn thing. But now, it seems like he's finally regretting what he did. I wonder why. Can't imagine.
So Peter Strzok now finally admits this about one of his anti-Trump text messages that got him pushed out of the FBI.
Please let me know
where
if
he
you can hear
texted
it.
that he was going to stop President Trump, then candidate Trump, from getting elected. Watch.
Well, obviously, first and foremost, I wish I never would have sent the damn text that I did. I mean, that's the obvious, easy answer.
And now watch Peter Strzok try to downplay his biased texts, vowing to stop Trump from becoming president. Watch this.
I know in 2018 you testified that you couldn't remember what you were referring to in terms of the no, we'll stop it. Do you have any more context now about that?
Absolutely. I mean, this was an off-the-cuff comment made outside of any work context whatsoever.
Okay, he initially said he couldn't remember the text. Now he remembers it. And he says it was off the cuff, outside of work, when he sent it on his government phone. Let's welcome RNC Committee Woman for California, Harmeet Dillon. I know you're fired up about this. Your reaction to Peter Strzok here?
Wow, this guy can't stop lying, I guess, with his affairs and all of the conduct that got him fired. He is doubling down on this.
Now, I mean, really, how desperate was Lisa Page? I mean, this guy is just evil to the core. He's lying. Even with his testimony, he looks so damn demonic.
So, Liz, the words that he used in that text that he now claims that he remembers but regrets are the exact same words, we must stop him,
tribunal,
that Glenn Simpson from Fusion GPS used, a few months earlier. So do we all believe that that's a giant coincidence? I don't believe it. And it's not an isolated one either. There are dozens or hundreds of such emails and text messages between him and Lisa Page and others, some of which are now destroyed apparently. But in reality, what you see is a pattern. In the same breath, he's saying, which we may get to, but he's saying that these people were all overworked, they were working around the clock. Well, it seems like they were pretty much immersed in getting Donald Trump. So nothing that this guy said during that time frame could be considered private or off the cuff. It was all part of the job.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up Fusion GPS because they helped get the debunked Steele dossier, the anti-Trump research. Somehow it got into the FBI, and Peter Strzok is now saying, he's downplaying that. The Steele dossier put us on a wild goose chase. They actually they relied on it to help get FISA wiretaps meant for.
Becca, I was wondering what you're trying to say. He's a lemon? Oh, and thank you, by the way, Joanna, for the super hearts. I appreciate it very much.
Terrorists to go after the Trump team, an opposition candidate. To your point, now Peter Strzok is saying, all the mistakes the FBI made, they made them because they were overworked. Right. Misleading the FISA court, not giving the FISA court exculpatory evidence, deceiving the FISA court. The FISA court really smacked back hard at the FBI here. Your reaction to his new excuse?
Well, he's claiming that there were a couple of trivial mistakes and they were inexcusable, but they were because of overwork. The Inspector General identified at least 17 errors, serious errors, prejudicial errors, errors that basically misled the court in such a way that a citizen's civil rights were repeatedly violated. That's a very serious matter. When I look at it as a civil lawyer in private practice, if I do stuff like that, I misrepresent things to the court, I get punished, and people get punished for that. People get sanctioned, people get suspended from practice. No such consequences are applying to these people, most of them, with very few exceptions. And so, the repeated lying is very concerning. And when you look at his media interviews, nobody's putting them in context. In fact, there are numerous text messages that talk about trying to sidle up to a judge on the FISA court and have a dinner party and invite that judge and sort of do corrupt activities like that outside the process. This was not isolated. They had a lot of time on their hands to plan dinner parties and ways that they could corrupt justice.
I react because in my interviews with the FBI officials that, or who are my sources, they keep saying Peter Strzok did pollute the process. They're really outraged at his activities, and the FISA wiretaps are really powerful. They not only hit all your devices and everything, what you got in your bank accounts, but who you're talking to and who that person is also talking to. So it's powerful stuff. It's not just like a criminal wiretap. Your reaction to the news that former FBI lawyer Lisa Page's government phone was wiped clean. It was reset back to factory settings before she gave it to the DOJ Inspector General. He was looking into bias against Trump. Also, Peter Strzok's government phone, a lot of information looks like it was wiped out too. Your reaction to that story?
Yeah, also Andrew Weissman, also so many others. Again, this is conduct that would get almost every other lawyer suspended or disbarred. This is shocking conduct. Destruction of evidence is something that is taken very seriously by lawyers. We lecture our clients about it. This is evidence destruction. There is no way that this was a coincidence. I think your prior guest, Katie McFarland, used the term cockroaches. These guys are cockroaches too. And what they're saying to the court is a mockery. What they're saying about these phones is a complete mockery. Nobody believes it. I doubt even their mom would believe it. It's pretty shocking stuff, and I hope that somebody holds them accountable. We've been waiting for years for accountability here. It's close to the election now. There must be accountability, otherwise people will have no faith in the DOJ, no faith in the FBI, and that will undercut our security in this country. So we must stop this.
Harmeet Dillon, it's great to have you on. Come back soon, okay?
Thank you, Liz.
Well, you know what? There are going to be people for accountability because we still are waiting for the indictments. Now, I'm going by Q. They say things are really starting to get close. So we'll all just have to sit and wait. When that's serious crime when you destroy evidence, which in this case they did. But I will bet anything that the NSA still has it. They have everything on us. Right, there you go. They still got it. Especially government. Yes, they probably do. Why would they not have any of the evidence or what you say records at the NSA? They collect everything else. Here's a doozy. Considering, let's see, this is screwing up just a bit. It's not where I wanted to go. Wait, where the hell did this come from? This is not what I had. Well, I will get to that one later then. Speaking of other dirt bags, I'll just switch to this story because it's a big story as well. I found an easier way of doing this. Hunter Biden is back, according to Sean Hannity. Hunter has worked with the Chinese military supplier to buy U.S. auto plants, but they're also, which is not mentioned in this article, that they are working to buy lots of Australian property. Well, they're working with them too. They seem to have their little greedy hands and everything else. Bombshell report. Some Simis Banner and John Sullivan, very reliable John Sullivan, has revealed that the true intent of the global connections used by Hunter Biden to advance his businesses show that the former vice president's son worked with the Chinese military supplier to acquire a Michigan-based auto plant manufacturer. The investment fund named Boyna Harvest, RST, plainly owned by directed by Hunter, or Biden's son Hunter, and Secretary of State John Kerry's stepson Chris Hines. Another connection for Kerry. He's not only a treasonous bastard, and he is in violation of the Logan Act, and he has been. Had a few years earlier played a vital role in financing the sale of a Michigan-based auto parts manufacturing automotive to one of China's main military aircraft makers, Aviation Industrial Corporations of China, or AVIC. In 2015, transactions approved by the Obama administration, surprise, and its Committee of Foreign Investment to the United States came just 15 months before the United States policy added one of the AVCIS's subsidiaries to the Commerce Department blacklist, known as the Entry List. And just months before the Obama administration resumed patrols in the South China Sea, excuse me, because of based Beijing military aggression to the region where the AVIC built military jet in China activities. So there's more damning evidence for the Obama administration than Biden. I mean, the list could probably go on for a very long time, which is really disturbing. It surely is. And we'll just have to wait and sit tight. It's coming. Everybody just sit tight. Don't worry. It will happen. It sounds like Durham is about ready to start indictments, or, starting sealing them. I have to feel that he's trying to be careful. As I said before, if he does it too early, it's going to look like a political hit job. Looks bad. More or less, they'll probably really start to flow out once the election is immediately over. They'll probably start rolling off the assembly line itself. And another wonderful dirtbag in California was at a conference, and I will try to do that the next couple days. Seemed to really be a softie now. He always acts like a real tough guy, Newsom. He's a piece of shit because he is just one of those type of people. In fact, I believe it was like 1.5 million. No, it was actually $3.8 million, I believe, he spent on his damn house. And the story I was going to actually get to, Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan spent $1.5 million putting up a wall and electric fence around her house. Gee, I wonder why. Taxpayer money well spent. Early Christmas, right? For them. And we get the pleasure of footing the bill. But amazing. Look how, what a wuss, or, well, okay, let's just kind of back that up. He thinks he's a real tough guy back then.
And that's why we need to remove him. I hope we can do that next November. I don't imagine he'll be removed from office with this Senate that will simply do nothing but abdicate any traditional oversight of bad behavior of this administration. But the House.
Okay, that's Mr. Tough Guy back then. And today, I believe it was today he was at. Let me find it. There we go. We have the Cowardly Lion. Do a little switching.
There's no question when you look past this decade,
Newsom.
looking past almost 1,000+ years, that we have not done justice on our forest management. I don't think anyone disputes that. I want to acknowledge we have our U.S. Forest Representative here. The state of California, your administration just entered into a first-type commitment over the next 20 years to double our vegetation management and forest management. Right. I want to thank you for supporting that effort, funding that effort. We acknowledge our role and responsibility to do more.
Position, body language. Look at the president. He's not very happy. That is a offensive posture. You can tell. Every time he does that, you know he's pissed. And he has every right to be pissed at this guy. They've been told for many years to clear out the brush in California. They don't do it. They're not getting funded because they want to be a sanctuary state. And they're just being arrogant. Yes, it is. I would love to see him just go off on Newsom. One of the people I would just like to see him just dig into him. But really, this is not the time. And I think it's showing Newsom that he's pissed. But when it comes to these fires in Oregon, California, and I believe Washington, they've caught people setting these fires, which is arson. And we can only blame Antifa or Black Lives Matter. If anybody's seen, go back and watch Project Veritas, where a Bernie bro who was working on Bernie's campaign said, we're going to burn this place down if he doesn't get elected or the nominee. Well, it looks like they're sitting with their threat. And the president, I think, is about ready to throw down the gauntlet on the Insurrection Act. Now, Insurrection Act gives him full presidential powers to use the military without their permission and take care of them. Right now, some people don't understand that all these riots that are going on, the governor has to ask the president at this point to come in to take care of the rioters, and they're not doing it. So this is going to be a huge, huge blowback on the Democrats. Now, I'm going to add Nevada. I've already added California to red. I'm going to add New York to red. And I'm going to redo a map that I did probably a few weeks ago. But I listened to his speech. What was it, last week? He says they're going to take a look at California. Well, he's in California. It's going red, folks. Get ready. I will bring the rest of this conference to you soon if I get a chance. I've been a little bit busy to deal with a whole lot of it, of streaming. And he did go to a ceremony with the National Guard while he was in California, which we all know the president loves the military, and he just loves everybody. Let's just face it.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor. And this is beautiful aircraft we're looking at. Look at that beautiful, very expensive plane for good reason. Today it's my profound honor to award 7 extraordinary soldiers with the distinguished...
You could be right, Becca, who is in DLive. Please join the DLive, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. Possibly YouTube if they haven't shut me down yet. Becca in DLive says that she thinks they'll go 50 red. Very possible. I'm holding out on the super blue states. There's going to be a couple that are not going to move. That's probably like, I would say Delaware. I did put Oregon in the red column. That one's a wild card because they do cheat. Like your upper Midwest or Mid-East states of that area. New York, somebody pointed out Maine. Maine will go red because of the new fishing rights. And I happen to agree with that. It's a good point. New Hampshire will go red. Massachusetts, I think, will stay blue. So I'll redo a map because I'm kind of keeping track of what's going on.
Distinguished Flying Cross for their remarkable courage to rescue their fellow citizens. I want to very much thank Major General Matthew Beavers for being with us today. Thank you, General. Thank you very much. Thank you, General, very much. It's a great honor to see you. Mm-hmm. I want to welcome, and please sit down. Families, please sit down. You're all very proud of these gentlemen, I think, right? I think. Is anybody not proud of their husband? Is anybody not proud? No? Good. Then we'll proceed. Welcome to Chief Warrant Officers Joseph Rosamond, Kip Godding, Irvin Hernandez, Brady Labine, Ji Jung, and Sergeants George Escoval and Cameron Powell. Thank you very much, and I will say that it's such an honor to be in your presence. You'll hear a story shortly that was very inspiring to me and to everybody else, and that's why these are very important medals, and it's great to be with you. Joining us are also warriors, but warriors of a different type. They're called Great Congressmen, and they're from your area. Doug LaMalfa. Thank you, Doug, very much. Appreciate it. Tom McClintock. Thanks, Tom. Doing a great job. And Greg Walden, and we'll miss you, Greg. I can't believe you're not going to be there. He's retiring undefeated. Nobody would defeat him, and but it's a great honor. And it's really been fantastic working with Greg. We worked on something in particular, Right to Try, right, Greg? And we got it done. After 44 years, we got it done. So thank you very much. Just over 1 week ago, these brave pilots and crew members of the California Army National Guard embarked on a harrowing mission. As the sun set on September 5th, they boarded 2 helicopters that are behind me. Then they flew into blazing flames, raging wind, and it was raging, and blinding smoke to rescue families who were trapped by the massive creek fire at the Mammoth Pool campground. While they were on their way to the campground, the crew received word from state and local officials and headquarters that it was far too dangerous to continue the mission, turn back. But they decided to continue anyway, knowing they might not return. They knew that people were in danger, great danger. As night set in, they could see almost nothing through the miles of dense smoke. Using their night goggles and their expert navigation skill, they reached the camp. They found the stranded families, many of whom were badly burned and injured, and they loaded them, as many as they could, onto the 2 helicopters. Then they made the perilous flight back to the base. As soon as they unloaded the passengers, they again risked their lives and flew back into the blazing fire to rescue more victims. Their superiors said, "You cannot do this, you cannot do it again." They did it. The smoke had become even more overpowering, yet they returned a 3rd time. After 10 grueling hours, they completed their mission, having saved the lives of an astounding 242 people. We are proud of them. Wow.
Very much so.
That's an incredible story. And I spoke to some people that really didn't want you to do it. They didn't want you to go back on those flights. To each of you, your unyielding and undying determination lifts our nation. You're what makes our nation great, and we thank you very much. Thank you very much. Incredible job. Over the last week, these devoted soldiers have continued to rescue more stranded individuals from danger. In fact, less than 48 hours after their rescue at Mammoth Pool, they flew to another treacherous mission. On the first 2 attempts, they were forced to turn around and they were advised to abort the mission. You must abort the mission. But they chose to try a 3rd time at great risk to their own lives. Through tremendous skill and incredible valor, they saved 50 people from absolute imminent danger. Our nation is strong because of remarkable individuals like these service members. In the midst of our greatest trials and biggest challenges, America prevails because of the brave and selfless patriots who risk everything so that they may save lives of people, in many cases, that they don't know. They have no idea who they are. It's like law enforcement. They save the lives of people that, for the most part, they have no idea who they are, but they're so determined to do it. Today, our country honors their courage, and we're inspired by their example, and we thank God for the blessing and all of our blessings that you're safe. Our nation has really benefited by your bravery, and on behalf of our great nation. I thank you very much. As your president, I thank you very much. Great job. And now I'd like to ask the military aide to come forward and read the citation, please.
Attention to orders. The President of the United States hereby awards the Distinguished Flying Cross to Chief Warrant Officer 5, Joseph Rosamond; Chief Warrant Officer 5, Kip Godding; Chief Warrant Officer 2, Brady Labine; Chief Warrant Officer 2, Irvin Hernandez; Warrant Officer 1, Ji Zheng; Sergeant George Esquivel Jr., and Sergeant Cameron Powell of the California Army National Guard for distinguished acts of heroism and extraordinary achievement in aerial flight on September 5, 2020. The brave actions and superior airmanship of these soldiers resulted in the successful rescue of 242 adults and children from the rapidly developing Creek Fire in Central California. Their actions are in keeping with the highest military traditions of selfless service, honor, and personal courage, and reflects great credit upon themselves, the 40th Combat Aviation Brigade, the California Army National Guard, and the United States Army.
It's great to see the president honor such brave people. God, hey Nathan, what's up? All of our military personnel and law enforcement are very brave, but some go beyond the call of duty, and they deserve this so much. I did. I just played a little bit of it. Why are they standing so far away from me? may seem silly for me to clap, but they deserve it. They really do. Yeah, Nathan, I did see that. It was really great. I love seeing that little worm squirm. Little maggot is what he is. Today also, FLOTUS had a press conference, and she actually touched on something that nobody really talks about. There's only been a couple of presidents that have done this at all, and this is about sickle cell anemia. And love FLOTUS as well as the president. See, I don't really. It's kind of weird. I don't know if you would say it, but they all deserve it, absolutely. I don't. It's kind of weird for me to say, but he's. You gotta love Trump. How can you not? No, in a bro type way. You know what I mean? But you gotta love FLOTUS as well.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome you to the White House and thank you all for your commitment to improving the lives of Americans with sickle cell disease. September is National Sickle Cell Disease Awareness Month, and for the first time since 1983, the White House has elevated this important issue with the presidential proclamation. Today, we are here to support those affected by sickle cell disease and to reaffirm our goal of finding a cure. Although we have known about this disease for over 100 years, too many Americans living with sickle cell still do not receive the...
See, you have a lot of them haters who say, well, she can't speak English. I says, look, she can speak 6 different languages. How many first ladies could ever do that?
Quality care they need and deserve. But together, we can bring help and hope to so many children and families. Children well-being is primary focus of my Be Best initiative. Unfortunately, the effects of sickle cell disease often begin in early childhood and can cause episodes of extraordinary pain that put patients at risk for organ damage or stroke. We have made progress in treating this disease. Early identification and new life-saving therapies can help. The President has signed a bill that funds research and treatment, and the administration has launched a program to provide new training for healthcare workers. But there is still much more to do. Through leadership from HHS and Admiral Garrar, an administration announced funding to increase the use of recommended medication for children. HHS has also partnered with the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine to publish the strategic plan and blueprint for action to address sickle cell disease in the United States. And today, the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services is releasing a new national sickle cell disease infographic that will provide important information to both doctors and patients and improve the quality of care across the country. We are surrounded today by doctors, researchers, advocates, parents, and patients, all united by our belief that a better and healthier future for our children is within our reach. It is an honor to have you here today. Now I would like to ask Jerome Smith from the White House Domestic Policy Council to say a few words.
Thank you so much for your leadership, Mrs. Trump. As the First Lady said, sickle cell disease is a very common disorder. Sickle cell disease is painful, chronic, and inherited disease that afflicts 100,000 Americans, primarily African Americans and Hispanics, and millions around the globe. That is why it is so important that this administration has focused on making actual change and creating policies that improve the lives of the vulnerable. At the direction of the president, we have made huge changes to empower minority communities in many different ways, like by improving infrastructure, creating better economic and workforce opportunities, and addressing health disparities in America. President Trump has also done more for people living with sickle cell disease than any other administration before. The president and first lady have provided opportunity for children and families in minority communities who have been previously overlooked. Nearly every African American has a family member impacted by this disease. That of course includes my family. I have a niece and a cousin who've spent many years in the hospital, and I'm thankful for organizations like Make-A-Wish that's made their hospital stays at least somewhat comfortable. And I'm blessed.
Let's have good wishes and prayers for people in the path of Hurricane Sally. Just wish them well, and hopefully they're right out with no problems.
That they were able to get the transfusions and things they need to be with us today. Data tells us that 1 in 13 African American babies is born with sickle cell trait. They carry the gene for sickle cell disease, and 1 in 365 African American has sickle cell disease. The painful outcomes of sickle cell disease can be minimized with disease-modifying therapies such as hydroxyurea. Initiation of hydroxyurea among pediatric patients has been found to reduce rates of hospitalization, pain encounters, and emergency department visits. It also has been shown to be cost-effective and to reduce total healthcare costs. The new funding demonstration, coupled with other sickle cell disease and minority health initiatives, will continue to improve the lives of all Americans. Thank you all of you here today, sharing your story and raising awareness. We are grateful to be able to discuss the progress that has been made with the White House support and the future innovations we can continue to uncover. Thanks again.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Trump, for hosting this historic roundtable on sickle cell disease. As a pediatrician, as a pediatric intensive care physician, and having Shamanika as almost a member of my family, this is a day that I've really dreamt about for many years. Your personal commitment to support children's needs, and now your presence here today, continues to inspire us. I also want to thank all of you, patients, advocates, docs, all sickle cell warriors and part of our extended family. Our administration made the promise, I made the promise to all of you, that people with sickle cell would never again be last in line. And we have kept that promise. Today's part of that. President Trump was the first president since 1983 to even mention sickle cell from the White House as messages in 2018 and 2019, and now as an official proclamation just this month. He also signed into law, I know many of you worked on that, the Sickle Cell Disease Inheritable Blood Disorders Act of 2018. We started a federal work group under Admiral Collins to bring leaders from all across the government to prioritize sickle cell activities. We started the STAMP program to mentor primary care physicians and practitioners how to take care of people better. We're using digital technology to tell your stories. Under Dr. Gibbons, the NIH began the Cure Sickle Cell Initiative, trying to cure within 5 to 10 years at NIH. Last year, while I was acting FDA commissioner, we gave accelerated approval for 2 revolutionary new highly effective drugs for sickle cell. And as the First Lady mentioned, just this month, after 2 years of work, the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine published a sickle cell disease national action.
You would think the Obama administration would have actually done something for the Black community Oh, yeah. He doesn't care, does he?
Plan that outlines in almost 600 pages the steps we need to do as a nation. And today, as the First Lady announced, we are announcing the first ever national report card on the 41,000 plus Americans with sickle cell disease covered by Medicaid or CHIP, where they are, what treatments they receive, how many times they need emergency care or admitted to the hospital. Unfortunately, and this is data from 2017, less than half of children with sickle cell receive recommended care. But now that we know the data, we can measure it, we can improve it, and we're going to do just that. Finally, our administration is leading a global movement, including the World Bank, health ministers, African first ladies, to implement large-scale screening and primary care for sickle cell disease in Africa. Through this initiative, we can save the lives of more than 9 million children with sickle cell by the year 2050. Our administration will continue to raise the profile of sickle cell, but more than words, we commit to you to make meaningful progress. Words only go so far. We're going to go and walk the walk. Thank you, Mrs. Trump, for your compassion and using your platform to help these families and families throughout the world. And now what you're really here for is to hear from them. We're going to start. I just met some of these, and some are my family members, but we'll start with Kayla Smith Owens across the table.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Kayla Smith Owens, and I have sickle cell disease, hemoglobin SC. I did not experience the effects of sickle cell until I was 11 years old, which is not something that usually happens. But when I did experience the effects, it wasn't as bad as it is now. Now I'm in the hospital almost every month, and I can definitely say that being in college has made it worse because of the stress. I'm a college student. I'm a senior criminal justice major. I have become an advocate for sickle cell. It's something that I feel very strongly about, working to improve the lives of us. I host toy drives for the children at Children's National Medical Center in DC. I speak at different events. But one thing that I feel very strongly about is sickle cell trait. I feel that we need to find a way to make sure that people get tested, because people don't find out that they have the trait until they're already pregnant. And then at that point, if their partner has the trait, there's a 25% chance that their baby could have the disease. And if people knew ahead of time, things could be prevented, and that could prevent us having so many people suffering from this awful disease. I'm very hopeful in the future that we will have more for sickle cell disease, more options for cures, more medications. The one thing with sickle cell is no one in this room that has sickle cell looks as sick as we are. You can't tell. You can't look at me and say, oh, she's sick. Oh, she's in the hospital every month. And even when I come out of the hospital, I actually just came home from the hospital on Sunday. But you can't tell that I was in the hospital. We just really need help with this disease, and I'm really happy that we had this opportunity today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla, and Kayla's mom, Michelle.
Hello, my name is Michelle Smith. I'm Kayla's mom. We are really blessed and very excited to be here, to be able to speak about sickle cell and our experience. I'm extremely proud of my daughter. She's been an advocate. She talks about sickle cell whenever she can. She spoke at colleges, but like she said, you look at her and she looks like everything is okay, and she's really good at that. I just sit back and I think about the nights when she can't sleep, when she's in a lot of pain, a lot of the missed opportunities, things she's not able to do because of the pain. And she tries her best not to, let sickle cell hold her back and restrict her from anything. But sometimes, that happens. So, I just try to support her in any way I can. I'm a nurse, So I see it from the parent side where I'm sitting with her in the hospital room. I also see it with my patients, treating my patients. So that does help
That's
me,
true.
you know, kind of give me a little more understanding of what my patients are going through. But even at that, you know, I could never experience the pain or know, you know, exactly what she's going through. I only know what she's telling me. So sometimes I feel like we're not heard. You know, sickle cell is not talked about a lot. Like she said, you can't look at her and tell that she has it. So sometimes I think that an opportunity like this is a blessing, you know, for her to be able to speak for sickle cell.
You're right, Becca. The one thing this president is doing is making sure everything that can be done is done. And he is bringing real problems, as you just said, to the forefront. And he is working hard, as is everything he does, to not only educate people, but to find the answers.
Patients everywhere and explain, you know, what is going on with them. And I'm just praying that, you know, we can come up with a cure. Myself, you know, I'm going to support her and anything that I can do for anyone to advocate for this awful disease the best that I can, you know. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ms. Smith. And now, I think the star of the show, Samuel, who's a 12-year-old young man who's got a personality as big as the moon. He's a patient at Children's right here. Samuel, the stage is yours, my friend.
Hello, my name is Samuel Price, and I'm 12 years old. The first time I experienced sickle cell was when I was a baby. My grandmother told me that I had a crisis in my hand. When I was 7 years old, that's when I really experienced the pain and I actually felt it. Like, I actually knew about it. I was 7 years old and I had a crisis inside of my legs, and I had to go to the hospital, and I spent a few weeks in the hospital, actually. And it was around Christmas time, and I missed Christmas. But I still got presents. But then after Christmas, my birthday came around. My dad, he told me that he said do something different, and I said I'm gonna find a way out. And somehow the next day I went to my mother's house, and we went to the library, and I saw chess, and I asked my mother, can I play? And she said, sure. And I played, and I was like, this is the way out. And as soon as that, I didn't think about the pain anymore, and I just thought about chess, and the pain just wiped my mind. But the pain still happens every once in a while, sometimes. But the feeling is, it's like a scrape. It's like, say somebody had long nails, and they scrape their nails against a blackboard, and you hear a screeching sound. It feels like that inside of you, and it hurts, and yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Very strong. Okay. Keep it up.
And his proud mom, Ms. Price.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having this. I do appreciate that. Hearing Samuel speak, my name is Annette Price, but hearing Samuel speak, as parents in the room, it does bring tears to your eyes because you are not able to avoid the pain for your child. And as he said, it's excruciating pain that you can never imagine, and you don't know how to fix it except take him to the hospital. The hospital workers sometimes don't know what to do either. And they're also hospitalized for quite some time. We have many doctor's visits. We have many pulmonary doctor's visits, and a lot of specialists that we have to see on a regular basis. Right now, we're at 3 months visits every 3 months because he's on the hydroxyurea, which definitely helps him. However, I do feel that now that he's getting older and he's going to go through puberty, I'm not sure how effective it will be. So we are hopeful that there will be a cure soon, very, very soon. So again, thank you for having us.
Shamonica. Very touching stories.
And thank you to everyone here for sharing your stories. Your words are powerful. I know they will lead to awareness and to action. As we continue to observe National Sickle Cell Disease Awareness Month, I want to recognize the bravery of those living with this disease, especially children and adults, of course. You deserve a long and happy life, free from pain, and we will continue to fight until nothing stands between you and your dreams. As we offer our gratitude and support to the families, caregivers, and advocates who provide comfort and care, even when their own hearts are breaking. While we use this month to raise awareness about the fight against sickle cell disease, the work will continue after September has ended, for as long as it takes to find a cure. Thank you very much again for being here. God bless you and your families. Thank you.
Well, that was really unexpected because really didn't hear nothing about it. And you're right. Why did not the mainstream media even talk about this? Probably because it's an issue they don't want to bring up. They want to bring up the riots. They want to bring up stupid stuff like the Rona, you know. For those not aware of what it is, and do a little educational video here. Make sure I get the right one for you. It's not it. That's not it. It's not it. That's definitely not it. No, I don't want to give you the wrong one. I don't want to... Hold on just a minute. We'll do it this way. This might help. There we go. I think... Let's see. Nope, that's not it. I want to get you in the right spot. Let me do this. I may have to come to back to this one because oh, I think I know what this is. Wait. Nope, that's definitely not it. Well, I'll do it this way then. We'll make this easy. Hopefully. I don't know why it's not doing this. This is... Well, I guess I won't do it because I don't want to mess up what I have lined up. So, on this, I mean, that was a last minute thing I thought about. So, we'll just do it this way. 235 senior military leaders endorse President Trump. Joe Biden's record of service members and veterans, or they condemn his record. After years of neglect of the Obama-Biden administration, our service members and veterans have finally found a strong advocate in President Trump. The Trump administration has rebuilt the military, completely overhauled the Department of Veteran Affairs, and launched groundbreaking individuals to assist military families and prevent veteran suicides in contract. Joe Biden's record of the military and veterans is one of failure, depleting budget cuts, failed foreign policy decisions, and inability to provide the nation's heroes with the quality health care and they deserve. Today, 235 senior military leaders endorse President J. Trump re-election and refute Joe Biden's failed liberal agenda. Man, I tell you, the endorsements just come and come and come. They never go away, which is definitely fabulous news. When it comes to the proud military and law enforcement, they even more law enforcement sheriffs in huge counties have not only switched from liberal or Democrat to the GOP as of one in Indiana just last week. And the president just got endorsed again by one of the largest unions of law enforcement. It's totally amazing. I'm telling you. The endorsements just keep coming. You know he's gonna. They all have his back. We have the president's back. Even the citizens of this great country. Now there has been an operation, Project Legion. I'm going to do it this way. And according to the Justice Department, see, now it works. It didn't work before when I wanted to show you something. The Justice Department said Michigan man charged with felony drug and firearm offenses. This was back in September, which just actually came over Twitter. Operation Legend continues to show results, said the U.S. Attorney Matthew Schneider, and the Eastern District of Michigan, providing charges or changes that happen when law enforcement agencies and across the board work together to make our streets safer, involving removing a surge of drug and guns from the communities our top priority. According to the changes document, ATF special agents conducted an undercover operation in which classified information purchased suspect crack cocaine and from a motel in Detroit on July 30th, while purchasing 19 baggies of crack cocaine in the hotel. Once again, they just repeated it. And confined information also alleged noticed firearms at the hotel in his pants pocket. So the DOJ is continuously working hard on Operation Legend, and A.G. Barr, had a press conference about this as well.
The Northern District of Illinois. And I'd like to start this morning by taking a moment to introduce you to my law enforcement colleagues, some of whom you will hear from in a few moments. We're honored to have Attorney General William Barr here with us today. From the ATF, we have Acting Director Regina Lombardo and the Special Agent in Charge here in Chicago, Kristen Detinio, is here as well. We also have from the FBI, Deputy Director Dave Bowditch. We also have the Special Agent in Charge of the FBI here in Chicago, Emerson Bowie.
And I'm sure that most of you notice when you go to fill up your tank of gas in your car, oftentimes it's below $2. You said, how the hell did this ever happen? Thank you, President Trump. Right? Thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, sir.
And look at your electric bills, everything else. These guys, your electric would go up 4, 5, 6 times. The Green New Deal, it's called the Green New Nightmare. While I'm president, America will remain the #1 producer of oil and natural gas on earth, and we will remain energy independent. It should be for many, many years to come.
Present as well. From the DEA, Special Agent in Charge Robert Bell is present. And from the U.S. Marshal Service, we have Chief Deputy U.S. Marshal David Gellerman and Chief Inspector Diego Grimaldo. Also up here with me are 2 other United States attorneys. We have my counterpart from the Northern District of Illinois, Tom Kirsch. Tom's office and my office, we work together frequently on combating illegal trafficking of firearms across our common border between Indiana and Illinois. And finally, my colleague, Justin Herdman, who's the U.S. Attorney in Cleveland, the Northern District of Ohio. He's here, and he's quarterbacking the Department of Justice's nationwide efforts on Operation Legend. We're here today to discuss a critically important topic, violent crime in Chicago. As Attorney General Barr has made clear, the most basic responsibility of government is to protect the safety of our citizens. For those of us in law enforcement, our top priority is to keep people safe. For much of this year, Chicago and many other cities have experienced significant, unacceptable, and in many instances, staggering spikes in homicides, shootings, and other violent crime. In response, the Attorney General launched Operation Legend, a systematic and coordinated law enforcement initiative in which federal law enforcement agencies work with state and local law enforcement departments to fight these crimes. In Chicago, we are fortunate to have one of the finest police departments in the country, the Chicago Police Department. The brave men and women in uniform have worked tirelessly to protect the citizens of Chicago. The goal of Operation Legend is to reinforce and to accelerate their efforts to reduce violent crime. The Attorney General has endeavored to do so by sending additional federal resources to Chicago, including a substantial number of agents from the ATF, FBI, DEA, and the United States Marshal Service. The Department of Homeland Security Investigation also committed additional agents. Since that time, about 7 weeks ago, when Operation Legend began in Chicago on July 22nd, my office and our federal and local partners have worked together to investigate and to prosecute.
I wish I had better news, but another major news outlet just labeled my critical Montana Senate race a toss-up.
The individuals who are driving the violence in Chicago, the trigger pullers, drug traffickers, carjackers, and critically, those individuals who illegally possess, use, and traffic firearms. Fortunately, the significant investment of resources under Operation Legend has had an immediate impact on reducing homicides and shootings in Chicago.
And the only thing Holder did when he was in the Justice Department was gun run.
The Attorney General will speak about that in a few moments. But even with the success of Operation Legend to date, much work remains to be done. The level of violence in Chicago remains far too high, and it can be demoralizing. Many children have been senselessly killed and injured. And while there are many things that need to be done to help Chicago's violent crime problem, one thing that all rational people can agree upon is that violent offenders need to be held accountable for their crimes. Enforcing the rule of law and holding these offenders accountable are essential components of every reasonable strategy to ensure public safety in Chicago, and it is the backbone of Operation Legend. And with that, it is my honor to introduce Attorney General William Barr.
Thank you, John, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming this morning. I'm pleased to be in Chicago to address the most significant threat facing this city. The explosion of violent crime, particularly homicides in Chicago earlier this year, threatened not only safety, but this city's way of life. The federal government responded with Operation Legend, one of the most significant federal law enforcement operations in recent years. We have dedicated hundreds of federal government's best investigators, analysts, fugitive trackers, and other experts to work with our state and local colleagues in law enforcement here in Chicago to help get violent criminals off the streets. And I am pleased to report that Operation Legend is working. Crime is down and order is being restored to this great American city. Operation Legend is a vivid illustration of what dedicated law enforcement officers at all levels of government can do to keep people safe. Unfortunately, too many people in too many cities insist on denigrating, demonizing, defunding police. Just yesterday, the police chief in Rochester, New York, decided to retire rather than to stand by while the character of his police force was attacked. Seattle's police chief made a similar decision last month after the city council decided to cut the budget of her department. Other cities, including New York, Baltimore, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, have recklessly slashed police funding at a time when their residents need protection more than ever. This is a misguided and short-sighted policy, and I fear the costs will be devastating. There is no harder job in America today, and I think no more noble job than serving as a police officer. And on behalf of the Department of Justice, I want to thank all of those in Chicago and beyond who protect and serve. The increase in violence that has plagued Chicago and other cities is what prompted the department to launch Operation Legend 2 months ago in Kansas City, Missouri. The operation is named for Legend Taliaferro, a 4-year-old Kansas City boy shot and killed while asleep in his bed. The purpose of the operation is to make...
Hey, Laura Trump here. This election is, without a doubt, the most important...
Make clear that his life mattered, his name should be remembered, and other innocent victims like him, including the 8-year-old girl killed in Chicago on Labor Day, should not suffer such senseless deaths. After starting in Kansas City, Operation Legend expanded to Chicago 2 weeks later and is now active in 9 major cities. As part of the operation, the federal government has dispatched over 1,000 of our most skilled agents to help state and local law enforcement fight violent crime. Over the past 2 months, federal agents involved in Operation Legend have made more than 2,500 arrests, many for violent crimes, including homicide and sexual assault. One of these arrests came on August 13th, when Kansas City police, with the support of the FBI and the U.S. Marshals, arrested the suspected murderer of Legend Taliaferro, the 4-year-old boy who inspired the operation's name. In addition to those arrested, the 2,500 arrests I've mentioned, federal prosecutors have brought federal criminal charges against 600 defendants through Operation Legend. Bringing federal charges is significant because defendants arrested for violent crimes are often detained before trial, unlike state defendants who are too often released. In addition, federal defendants will face serious sentences if convicted, with a real possibility of long-term imprisonment at the Bureau of Prisons facility out of state. Knowing that, many of the arrestees cooperate with the government and lead to even more violent offenders such as leaders of gangs or drug organizations. In short, the basic premise of Operation Legend is that by taking chronic violent criminals off the street, we will force crime rates down, and the strategy is working. Here are a few examples. In Kansas City, violent crime has dropped by 32% since we launched Operation Legend, with homicides down 18% and aggravated.
Over the last 3.5 years, we've secured America's borders, fixed our broken trade deals.
Aggravated assault down a remarkable 47%. In St. Louis, homicides have dropped by 47% in the 4 weeks since Operation Legend began, and more than 120 defendants have already been charged federally. In Detroit, homicides have dropped more than 25%, and non-fatal shootings have dropped by more than 35%. In the
Well, Governor Whitmer has also cut the Michigan funding for the police as well.
7 weeks of Operation Legend in that city. In Memphis, homicides in August dropped by nearly 20%.
Oh yeah, she needed an 8-foot wall electrified.
7%, and U.S. Marshals arrested 47 persons wanted for homicide. In Milwaukee, non-fatal shootings have dropped by 25% in the 5 weeks since the operation began. Operation Legend's success is perhaps most dramatic here in Chicago. When the operation was announced on July 22nd, homicides in the city were up 51% over 2019. Over the previous weekend, more than 60 people had been shot in Chicago, with over a dozen fatalities. Other violent crime, including looting and rioting, was increasing also. And the signs pointed toward the problem getting even worse, with the campaign to demonize and defund the police gaining traction, and criminals increasingly believing that they could operate with impunity. What we committed to Chicago in connection with Operation Legend were 400 federal agents, over $9 million of grant money to the police under our COPS program, which allowed the police to bring in 75 more positions, and $3.5 million in technical assistance to support the expanded anti-crime operations. Together, federal, state, and local law enforcement in Chicago, working as part of Operation Legend and our joint task forces, have reversed that dangerous spike in violence. Federal agents and deputy U.S. Marshals, along with state and local task force officers, have made more than 500 arrests, many for violent crime like homicide, sexual assault, and robbery. And federal prosecutors have charged, federal charges, 124 defendants, including 90 with firearms-related charges and 30 with drug trafficking-related charges. Many of those defendants are now detained pending trial rather than causing harm on the streets. The results of those actions speak for themselves. Over the first 5 weeks of Operation Legend in Chicago, murders dropped by 50% over the previous 5 weeks. August ultimately saw a 45% decrease in murders compared to July, and a 35% decrease compared to June. In fact, Chicago in August saw the lowest number of murders at any time since April. The bottom line is that Operation Legend has played a critical role in cutting Chicago's murder rate roughly in half since before the operation. This progress has come at a price. Tragically, an officer in Cleveland who was participated in Operation Legend was killed in the line of duty on his first day with Operation Legend. He was an experienced detective who had volunteered for the program, and he was investigating gangs, particularly those involved in drug trafficking. His sacrifice is a reminder that it takes a special kind of courage to sign up as a police officer. All of us mourn his loss, and we will carry on his legacy by continuing the good work in Operation Legend, not only in Cleveland, but here in Chicago and beyond. I thank the state and local law enforcement partners here in the Chicago area who have helped make this operation successful, and I look forward to continuing to work together in the days ahead. Thank you.
So hopefully we'll have more success in Operation Legend as it continues. It's very promising to hear what's going on, especially in Chicago, because they've had so many problems for so many years. And and when you have Emmanuel Deadfish as governor, he didn't do anything either. Now, I still remember a tweet or a small tweet, or however you want to call it. There was a young kid, and he was at a gang, and he had said they knew where the guns were going to be. They were left in a certain spot, and rumor has it that the governor, Emmanuel, actually was looking to incite violence. And I also had a coworker who I talked to who also pretty much confirmed what I seen in the video. So they were inciting violence, and they were just, I guess they wanted like a gang warfare, if you will. Unfortunately, a lot of people get caught up in that, and it's very unfortunate. When the challenges that officers face every day, you got to appreciate what they do. And to kind of close out is some acts of kindness from not only officers but regular pedestrians.
This officer goes beyond the call of duty to do a good deed, and part of it is all caught on dash camera video. Lieutenant Randy Rogers, who you see here, is with the Mooresville Police Department.
Yeah, he responded to a call of a suspicious man, but what he found was someone who just needed a helping hand. Fox 59's Lindsay Eaton actually shows us how a police stop, a couple of strangers, and a burger made for one really special story.
What awaits police officers on the other end of a call is unpredictable, and on Monday afternoon, a run turned into a reminder.
It could be anything, and fortunately, it was just a guy in need of some help.
Lieutenant Randy Rogers with Mooresville PD went to check on a report of a man on the side of the road. When he showed up, the man was up and walking. Lieutenant Rogers still turned around and stopped.
Ran his information to make sure he wasn't a wanted person or anything like that.
Once that was taken care of, Lieutenant Rogers learned more than just his name. Brian lost his home and was heading to Florida to see his family.
He just was very down on his luck. I think it come to the point where he just felt like he had nothing to lose by doing what he was doing.
Lieutenant Rogers asked Brian what route he was taking for his long walk and when was the last time he had a meal. It was then, you can see from the dash cam video, the two took their conversation to the patrol car.
I asked him, I said, how would you feel if I treated you to a big sandwich and a drink? And he said, I would love that.
Knuckle sandwich was the place, a double cheeseburger and a Coke was the order. Lieutenant Rogers paid the discounted bill with his own money, and then he had to get back to work.
I'm glad I helped him, and I'm glad he's appreciative.
Showing compassion. It's part of the advice a veteran officer gave Lieutenant Rogers at the start of his career. And now, 22 years later, he's still taking those words to heart.
He told me that if you take care of the people in Mooresville, Mooresville will take care of you, and here we are.
In Mooresville, Lindsay Eaton, Fox 59 News.
That's always good to hear a positive anything to help the police or the police help others.
He was able to assist her.
The Columbia Police Department calling Craig Turman a hero Wednesday, honoring the man for his effort to preserve public safety when he helped an officer make an arrest.
Glad you're okay. Make sure I listen to what you say. Okay, that's enough.
Turman watched Officer Ashley Hardesty's arrest quickly turn into a wrestling match outside a Columbia gas station on Tuesday.
I saw some of her belongings hit the ground.
All Turman knew was he didn't want to see the situation escalate.
I had tunnel vision.
He says something told him to stick around.
She done did everything she could. It was going to get ugly, you know. I mean, something had to be done.
Hardesty used her taser and mace on a man accused of punching a store clerk and pulling out a knife. The man wouldn't back down.
There's something inside of me that I done seen before, and I'm just tired of seeing the violence. The next step will probably be fatal. So I think I'm trying to save his life also.
That's when Turman stepped in, allowing Hardesty to handcuff the suspect. He was quickly praised for his efforts.
Nice tackle.
She was able to get him handcuffed, and he's in jail now.
I'm an ex-criminal, you know, and it just felt good to actually have the law pat me on my back.
There's even more to Craig Turman's story. Right now, he's homeless and living at the transition shelter in Columbia. He hopes his story can make a difference.
Wow, this happened. This guy is in a homeless shelter, and he did something like this. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I stood for something yesterday.
Are you glad you did?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
That was good form, too. Your head was up.
The man arrested Tuesday was Donald Brown. His criminal record dates all the way back to 2001. A judge denied him bail Wednesday morning, and he's facing several charges, including attempted murder and armed robbery. In the newsroom, Michelle Zhu, Watch Fox News.
We need more positivity when it comes to police officers. Most, there's just not enough today.
New tonight, a police officer's random act of kindness isn't going unnoticed.
That officer stepping up to help a young man who was down on his luck, and his generosity is now going viral.
7 Action News reporter Dave Llewellyn has the story.
A random act of kindness taking place here at Capri Italian Bakery. A Dearborn police officer's generosity to a young man down on his luck did not go without notice. This photo shows Officer Ray Essa inside the bakery last Friday, purchasing a meal for the man. It was part of a Facebook post by a woman who was inside the business at the time. I wanted to share this due to the amount of negativity towards police these days, she wrote in part. These officers put their lives at risk every day to protect us. I wish nothing but the best for the officer as I witnessed something truly amazing today at lunch that you don't see very often. Piero Boccarosa's family owns the bakery.
This random act of kindness in Dearborn, I guarantee, happens at every restaurant and other bakeries and whatever. I guarantee it happens all the time with the Dearborn Police and the fire department. They're always helping people, always.
The act is also no surprise to Dearborn's top cop, who had praise for his officer.
Once I learned it was which officer it was, I wasn't surprised. I mean, he's a top-notch guy, and he goes the extra mile in everything he does, so I wasn't surprised at all.
Unfortunately, with all these people saying nice things about the officer, he wasn't available to us. It's his day off. Officer Essa has been with the department for a little less than a year after 20 years of service in Detroit. You'd have to say he's off to a great start in Dearborn.
Time and time again, I've witnessed our police officers here extend an act of kindness that goes certainly way beyond their job description. And again, I encourage it, and I'm very proud of it.
In Dearborn, Dave Llewellyn, 7 Action News.
Not surprised to see so many
I
officers.
love to leave on a positive note whenever it's available, and more stories like that need to be shown on the mainstream media and everybody and everywhere else, other stream channels, what have you, because it's so important. They need the morale boost. It's at the Trump rally here, at the end of every one, the officers will say hello to you, they'll shake your hand, there was a line of, for probably 15 officers just standing on the side watching. Everybody went and shook their hand. You got 5 fist bumps, but that works too. They weren't, it's just, you just don't have any words because you don't get to do that every day. You can say thank you very much, but I understand why they got to be a little bit cautious around people. So it's always nice to leave on a positive note. I'm going to open up the chest for people in D Live. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I do appreciate you all. Hopefully, I will be back in another few days. I got things to do. Yeah, the Trump rally was really fun. And they really are. And I hope everybody gets a chance to go to one. I really do. We all need it. He needs it. He needs to show that we love him, but I know he does. Hi, AU. I didn't mean to ignore you. Nice. Thank you for joining. And it's Becca and EU. Becca's got 33. AE has 19 lemons. Congratulations. But when it comes to police, even when you meet them in the gas station, I say thank you very much and I appreciate what you do. They still need the morale boost. So I will try to get on very soon. There's a few more things I didn't get to, which is okay. God bless the President of the United States, Vice President, military. Thank you for keeping us safe. Hey, Scott, welcome back. God bless men and women, first responders. Law enforcement, please be safe. And let's keep the officers in LA in mind that they pull through. They're still, I believe, in critical condition after the ambush. So let's keep a little prayer for them if you don't mind. And God bless the Coast Guard, Border Patrol. God bless all of you. Please support your local GOP candidate. And let's take that House back. Let's keep the Senate. And let's get the 50 states for Donald Trump and re-elect him. It must happen. It's gonna happen because Joe is too busy crying in the basement and probably talking to his shadow. The majority indeed. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. I appreciate all of you who joined and on replay. God bless the United States. keep on winning. Excuse me.